So in this quick talk, I just wanted to share some of the experience I've had trying to make courses and student learning experiences that are very open and engaging, very constructivist. And specifically, I want to talk about this class. So this is my Intro to Programming class that I teach here in Beijing. And it's made up of mostly ninth grade students that have a wide variety of skills, coming in with different language skills, different math skills. The first year that I came into it, I was really excited to do more open learning. I was coming from teaching middle school math and science, and I was definitely feeling very kind of tired of having students so worried about tests and grades and rote learning and memorization. And I was really excited to be moving into more opportunities to push students to explore. And an example of that from the first year of teaching, a student made this drawing pretty early on in the class after showing a few examples in Turtle Art, and a few students really excelled in this. And this drawing might look familiar because it's a Bob Ross painting, actually. The student went and found a good Bob Ross video and followed along and did the drawing in Turtle Art as they worked on it. And I had a lot of these like one-off successes, and it was really cool. It was really fun to see how students would explore and what they would try. But I was also finding that a lot of students were struggling with the unknown of it. They were really looking to feel more competent in the skills that we were practicing. And when I introduced something new, they wanted to have the time to practice it. And that was a pretty big challenge for me. And so then I started doing this like pendulum effect of more competence building, more of that. And then I'm like, well, that's not what I want this course to be. I want it to be more students exploring the tools that they have. And so I came to think to rethink it by looking at the time, and I realized, okay, I need to give an equal amount of time, if anything else, half to the curriculum and half to the students that are in the class and that should be doing the exploring. So I took all the lessons that were in the course, and I thought of it as a bit of a math problem where I had a certain number of concepts that I wanted to reach in the lesson, and I had a certain amount of days to do it. And a number kept popping up in all the classes that I was teaching when I was trying to play around with this. And it was usually 6 days, and that was a nice number, mostly because it was even. So it meant that I could split that time and give 3 days of really focused lessons on that concept. It felt really tight when I first started doing it, but eventually I started to realize that it was just about the right amount of time, because then that would give 3 days for a project. And so I started building modules and projects that would go along with that. And I broke the rule of 3 very often. But 3 big lessons that I learned from it was that when I was planning the lessons, I was much more focused on what the concept was that I wanted to get across, and also how I was preparing students for the projects that I was going to get them to do. The other big takeaway is that the projects started to get more specific. They tend to be a little bit shorter than what I was doing previously. So I could scaffold them within those projects more focused. And the last one is that video that I took was actually a few months before COVID struck in China. So when we went to e-learning, following this structure really, really helped me and helped the students. And so that was a pretty big takeaway. So I hope you'll consider looking at a 3 lesson structure yourself in some of your planning.